Welcome to this brief demonstration of the Medway Parking functionality. Here we'll be taking a sequence from Final Cut Pro and parking it into an archive location, which in this case is a shared folder on a network file server. While I'm using FCP here, the principles of parking are the same for sequences coming from Avid machines as well. So here we have a simple sequence that I can park by exporting it to Medway through the export options within FCP. If I right click on my sequence name, we will see that Medway has placed an export option there for me to use. I choose to export to my sequence archive. This will send the archive job to the Medway server to be processed in the background. Once the export has been processed by FCP, I can open my Medway client application and watch the transfer go through. As we see the sequence appear in the client, we see that Medway has identified the component elements and will transfer these across to the parking archive location. Once on that location, the files will get written into a tar archive file. The media files are wrapped as standard MXF OP1A files, and a copy of the source XML file is included as well. These file formats ensure the openness and future-proofing of the archive files, ensuring that you will always be able to open these files in the future, no matter what other technology changes. Once the transfer completes, the new archive file appears in the source pane within Medway and will be available for use throughout the system. If I then switch my view to a Windows machine, I can briefly show what's happened on the destination side. If I open an Explorer window, which is looking at the shared network archive location, I can see that my new sequence has appeared as a standard tar file. Double-clicking will open the archive and allow me to view the contents. Of course, Medway uses entirely standard formats in this process, and the files here could be used independently of Medway if required. Now if I open my Avid Media Composer, I can show how this process works on a Windows platform. Again, I have an example sequence that is ready for parking. This time, rather than accessing the export menu, we now have a Medway drain icon showing on the screen. This drain is configured to point at the required destination, in this case the sequence archive. Selecting the sequence within the bin and dragging it onto the drain icon is all that is required to start the transfer. Now opening the Medway client will show the progress of this parking transfer. From this point on, the process is identical to that shown previously within the FCP. If we now return to the Mac, we will show the process of restoring a parked file and then using the sequence within FCP. Firstly, let's open the Medway client and browse for my file and get ready to do the transfer. I can expand the archive source section on the left of the client and then confirm that I have FCP set as my destination on the right. Then I can select my file and drag it from the source pane and drop it on my destination. We can then watch the transfer progress, again expanding the transfer to show all of the component files coming back from the archive. At this point, the media files are now being rewrapped from MXF to QuickTime and are written back into FCP's own storage. Once completed, we can simply select an item and drag it from the Medway client and drop it into my project in Final Cut. This brings both the XML and the media back into Final Cut Pro and recreates the sequence as it was when we started the export. This completes the parking demonstration, having transferred the sequence to the archive and now having brought it back in to show all the media, the effects and transitions are faithfully restored.